It's a BumbleKast Mini, sponsored by Might of Gabora.
My friends wanted to know if Sonic Speed Simulator is canon in its own weird way, since it's official, is licensed by Sega, and links back to previous games and mentions past events.
No, Sonic Speed Simulator is its own special little bubble game.
Yes. I do not know if you've read the Sonic in the Fourth Dimension book by Martin Adams, but I wanted to ask about the corridors, which there are an infinite number of, in the fourth dimension, which is infinite. Each corridor goes on forever in all directions. I wanted to ask, since it's stated to be infinite and have an infinite number of things, could its dimensions, magnitude, etc. also be infinite? I mean, if a realm is stated to be infinite, it has an infinite number of meanings in it, and each of those things go on endlessly. Its size and application should be endless, right? By this description, it doesn't look like there are any limits to its infinity. Yet again, there are no limits to its infinity. What do you think? Any insights on this? Infinity. Infinite.
No, I mean, that I've not read the book myself, but the way you describe it, it makes it pretty clear that infinite is infinite. It's infinite.
Yes, he is. Wait, no, that's not the infinite you're referring to. Never mind. Oh well, we all know infinite is weak. Are there books on the concepts of philosophy and philosophies in Sonic's world, like expressions of life, views in the world, like, for example, worldviews, how one thinks the world should be, how one should view the world, knowledge, etc.?
Potentially, sure.
If it's Earth and it's humans on Earth, we can roughly assume that humans at least have a similar level of knowledge and understanding of the world as real-world humans do. Probably. Pretty much, yeah. So it is supposed to be Earth. Sonic's world is Earth, a variation of Earth, but still, that's somewhat technologically in the future, but not quite, but also yes, but also no. I guess it depends where you are in the world. But yeah. Hey Ian, I sent you some stuff about the multiverse level theories. I'm not sure if you remember. I think you should read it and say what multiverse level you think Sonic's world classifies as. I think it's a mix of the levels 1, 2, and 4 multiverses.
I'm sorry, I do not have the time to invest in what looks like college-level text courses. So I will take your suggestion to heart and say, sure, if that's what works for you.
All right. Did Eggman and Eggman and Nega study the concepts of parallel universes during or before Sonic Rush and Rush Adventure? It seems like they knew what it was and what things describe them. Do the concepts of parallel universes and alternate dimensions exist in Sonic's world as well as the sci-fi concepts? Are there books on them in Sonic's world? Insights?
I don't know how much they studied because they seem to be a lot of, ooh, this is a neat idea. How can I exploit it? But I would imagine that they have some greater understanding of dimensional travel and whatever else in the big blanket sci-fi terminology alternate dimensions fall under with this. And yes, clearly there are multiple dimensions because that's the entire premise of Sonic Rush.
Movie Robotnik knew about multiverse theory, so yeah.
I mean, at this point, it's such a common thing in the movies. Everybody knows about multiverse, and it's not cool anymore.
Nor is it confusing, where it's all just become pedestrian and boring.
Mm-hmm.
Ian, you say that you were told special stages aren't canon, but they've been involved with the classic stories back in the day in the manuals, implied to be different dimensions, subspaces / hyperspaces, and parallel universes in the manuals and guides. So who told you this? Do you consider them canon after hearing this?
Came from the folks up top at Sega, and that is the new standard.
Yes. What is in the old manuals may no longer apply, and this seems to be one of those cases. Can Chaos Emeralds and people with time manipulation instill and impose the concepts and rules of space-time onto others? Note, Ataro Toyota said that Chaos Emeralds may have the potential to affect / control all concepts of space-time in a suite.
Well, I'm not going to argue with Toyota-san.
Why not?
Because he's kind of one of my bosses.
Oh, well, what if you did, though?
Then I would do so respectfully.
Does the concepts of Marvel and DC comics exist in Sonic's world? Movie Sonic was shown reading Flash comics very early on in his movies. Well, here's the thing. Movie Sonic was reading Flash comics on Earth, human Earth, current Earth, modern times Earth, our Earth, effectively.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So in that regard, we can assume so, but not in modern Sonic.
No, unless Marvel and DC happen to exist on Sonic's Earth, which who knows? Maybe they do. Nobody's asked. But I mean, Disney is everywhere, so could be. So remember that you have said that the Sonic multiverse is infinite and has infinite variations on infinite possibilities. And I've also expressed that you would say in the context of the games that there are infinite possibilities. So my question is, would you say there are infinite variations on infinite possibilities of worlds, universes, realities, timelines, and dimensions due to these infinite possibilities? Are these possibilities actual worlds in some shape or form? Is that a yes or a no? Infinite. Many infinites. Lots of infinites.
I mean, I don't know how else to say yes to that. I said it's infinite, so it's infinite. How else can you read that?
I feel like we have answered this one before, several times. Maybe once in this episode already, but okay. So I'm not sure if this is canon or not, but it does inform people on Sonic's world. But in Sonic's schoolhouse, it is shown that math exists and that numbers are sentient, abstract objects independent from Sonic and the player. This is sort of in line with mathematical Platonism, where numbers and other mathematical objects aren't just things in our minds, but are actual existences independent from others and people. So does Sonic Schoolhouse follow that based on that description, in your opinion? Note, it should be said that space-time is a mathematical object and an abstract concept that exist independently from Sonic and others' minds, and is an actual existence. Don't bring math into this, man.
I am willing to bet that was not the intention of the developers of Sonic Schoolhouse.
No, I get the feeling they did not. I get the feeling they just licensed Sonic because kids like Sonic. They wanted to make an entertainment game. Anyway,
I feel like with this particular wording, you could write some kind of doctoral dissertation arguing that angle. And I would be kind of inclined to see that. So if you want to pursue that and like actually formally pitch it somewhere, shine on you, Crazy Star, because I dig it.
Do the math, Ian. Do the math.
Oh, I ain't going to touch it.
No. That's okay. Someone else can do the math, not me. Are the numbers and amounts of timelines in Sonic's world dependent on how large time is in his world? For example, the end of time in Sonic Generations is stated to be an infinite thing in the official guide. So would that mean there's infinite timelines, if that was or is the case? Note, I recall there being an implication that dimensions fill up the end of time, since the Tails used walkie-talkies to communicate across dimensions where the Supersonics were implied to be traveling through in the end of time. So how long is time in Sonic? 15 years in Sonic's world is probably like 50,000 years in Earth time.
I mean, within the context of Generations, the very nature of time was kind of soft because of the Time Eater's efforts, so I don't think it's really a good thing to base any measurement against. And if something is infinite, like describably infinite, I think it's just safe to assume that it is truly infinite in all permutations.
There are so many infinites. It's almost like they're infinite. In the infinite variations on infinite possibilities of Sonic's multiverse, are there infinite imaginary worlds? That is a possibility, isn't it?
I mean, it precludes it, yes.
As many as there needs to be for the story. That's how many imaginary worlds there are. Count the number of infinites. Count all the infinites. Are the stories in the Arabian Nights, 1001 Nights, in the Sonic games, each their own world? Ataro Toyota and Shiro Makawa seem to agree with that thought and opinion when asked about it.
I mean, that makes sense. I think we've touched on this before. Like, if you open one copy of 1001 Nights, do you suddenly realize that there's a hedgehog in it? Or is it each individual book is its own thing, you know?
All right. In Sonic Shuffle, Void mentions he has siblings. Does this mean Void is part of an entire race or part of entire races, like species and such?
I would have to see the context again. That might be some fuzzy localization. Because Void's only real counterpart is Lumina, and they, in turn, are just two halves of Illumina. But the creatures that guard the precious stones might be derived from that same power, so that might be what Void is referencing. But I don't believe there are other Voidlings floating around Imaginary World, especially since everything came back together to form Illumina at the end.
All right. And our last question. Does Chaos Rings have a comparable and or similar power levels to the Chaos Emeralds? The Chaos Rings are the crystallized power of the Master Emerald, according to the Encyclopedia.
That is indeterminate because we've never actually seen them do anything. We know that they are powerful because of the bad end, but what they can actually do beyond that is not very clear. And I am 99% sure they have been retired and we're never going to see them again. So it will remain a mystery.
They remain a mystery, but not this mini. This mini will end. This mini is not infinite.
Hopefully it's been illuminating to some degree. Thank you to Might of Gabor for sponsoring this episode. If you want a BumbleKast Mini of your own, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or become a YouTube member.
There were 21 infinites. See you next time.